Welcome to day 13 of the Cat and Sam Advent Journey event.
where we get to start in an area that we might recognize from Star Wars, apparently.
Yes,
from
hopefully. So, let's have a look and see day 13 what the story is today. And it is, oh gosh, I love this. This was my favourite story when I was a kid, one of them. Little Miss Princess and the Pea.
Aww.
The Princess and the Pea.
We're two peas in a pod.
We are. So what have you got in your...
Alright, so I'm going for day 13.
Yeah.
And we are right here on day 13. Is that right? Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. It's been 13 days and I still don't know what I'm doing. I think I'd have it figured out by now. I was going to open 15.
No.
I'm on the right day.
Too early.
Though I'm ripping the picture.
Let's see if it's one we recognise today.
Well.
But if not, people can always leave a comment and tell us what it is.
It's a grey and white mess.
Oh, okay.
I will say that it has wings.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's a clue. It's going to be a fighter of some sort.
Okay, well, people can think about what it might be whilst I read a story. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Right, then I shall begin. Late one night last week, on her way home, little Miss Princess got caught in a terrible storm and her coach got stuck in the mud. It's proper mud. She saw a light in the distance and decided to seek help and a bed for the night. Look, she's covered in it. She walked through the wind and rain and lightning to the house, and on the way, she lost her crown. Little Miss Princess arrived at the huge house, exhausted and looking very wet and bedraggled. In fact, not looking like a princess at all. She knocked on the tall front doors. It was Mr. Snooty's house. Mr. Snooty is the richest man in the world. He's also one of the rudest men in the world. "What do you want?" he demanded rudely when he opened the door. Little Miss Princess explained what had happened and asked for a bed for the night. "You're not coming in here," he bellowed. "You'll ruin my expensive rugs." He slammed the door in her face.
Oh my goodness.
I know. "Please, can you help me?" begged little Miss Princess. "I'm so cold and tired, and I just need a bed for the night." "Go round the back and I'll see what I can do," he said crossly, with which he slammed the door in her face. What a rude man. Poor little Princess had to trudge all the way round the house. Mr. Snooty opened the back door. "Took your time," he said. "You can sleep in there," he said, pointing to a cold, damp cellar. "But I'm a princess," spluttered little Miss Princess. "Well, you don't look like one," snapped Mr. Snooty, "and you don't even have a crown." "I lost it in the storm," explained little Miss Princess. "A likely story," said Mr. Snooty. "If you are a princess, then you will have to prove it." Mr. Snooty led little Miss Princess into his enormous dining room. The dining table was vast, and seated around it were some guests. Mr. Snooty explained the situation to his guests and asked for their suggestions. "Princesses are really good at dancing. Let's dance," suggested Mr. Bump. And of course, Mr. Bump trod on her toes and sent her flying across the floor. "Hopeless," cried Mr. Snooty. "Can't dance, so she can't possibly be a princess." "Princesses are really good at waving," said Mr. Tickle. Now, little Miss Princess was very proud of her waving and loved to wave to people from her coach, but every time she raised her arm, Mr. Tickle tickled her. He tickled her so much she fell over on the floor. "Can't wave, can't dance, and look at her, on the floor again," said Mr. Snooty impatiently. "Decidedly not a princess." "I have heard," piped up little Miss Splendid, "that princesses are very delicate. So delicate that if they sleep with even a pea under their mattress, they will wake up in the morning bruised all over." Said Mr. Snooty. "That's an interesting idea." So Mr. Snooty went off to find a pea, and all the others trooped upstairs. Mr. Mean lifted the mattress, and Mr. Snooty placed the pea underneath. Mr. Mean looked at the bed. "Not much of a test," he said. "Quite right, Mr. Mean. More mattresses," he ordered. So they piled mattress after mattress, one on top of the other, until they nearly reached the ceiling. Then little Miss Princess climbed on top. "Good night," said Mr. Snooty, and he turned out the light. And then Mr. Snooty went to bed, although not the sort of bed he had hoped for. There was not a bed in the house left with a mattress on it. Mr. Snooty was up very early the next day, partly to see how the test had worked, but also because he'd had a dreadful night's sleep. "How did you sleep, Mr. Snooty?" asked little Miss Princess. "I had a wonderful night's sleep," she replied. "Ah," cried Mr. Snooty, "I knew you weren't a princess." "And yet I still got to sleep in your biggest and most comfortable bed," beamed little Miss Princess. "Oh," said a suddenly crestfallen Mr. Snooty. "And if you're going to test for princesses in the future," she added, "you should use an uncooked pea, not a cooked one." With which she lifted the mattresses and revealed a squashed pea. Mr. Snooty went very red in the face and did not know what to say. He was so embarrassed. And little Miss Princess went home. "Waste of a good pea, if you ask me," muttered Mr. Mean. Oh dear, serves him right, Mr. Meanie. And how are you getting on, my love? It's one of those, is it?
I'm not done. So I guess I show the pieces. I'm pretty close, I think, but I'm trying to get it so it'll display because they're not together. Because you have to get other pieces on there. It's
fantastic! It's it's a thingy.
It's gonna be a plane of some sort, but
I recognise that.
It has little turrets. So
well done.
We'll have to work a little magic to get it done.
Oh, calling for the elves. Excellent.
Call in for the elves.
What would we do without the elves?
I don't know what we would do without the elves. But I do know that we're done with day 13. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.